Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. Now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of news in the John George case. And it's sort of good news, really. So, Johnny Smith, who is the alleged, must remember alleged, killer, the only remaining suspect who is still alive, Johnny Smith, let's see, we've got a photo of him that we can show. Spanish case, although it involves John George, who's a Northern Irish guy, the guy up in the corner here. He came out to Spain. He had some dubious relationships, some sort of dodgy dealings, you might say. Got involved, went the wrong path in life, but very much loved by his family. Father of two young boys, came out to Spain for reasons that we're not sure about, and never went home. So, and after a very long search that went over Christmas and New Year, not last year, the year before, he was finally very sadly discovered murdered in a lemon grove in Spain, in the south of Spain. So this then resulted in obviously a murder inquiry. And one of the suspects, Johnny Smith, I don't seem to have a photo of him here, but I'll find one. Um, he sort of legged it to Portugal, went off and married his girlfriend. First of all, then off he went to Portugal to hide. And the other suspect, Michael Malley, he seemed to cooperate with the police, and it's thought that maybe it was him who led them to John's body. John's family went through a terrible time looking for him, but finally, at last, they were able to take their loved one home, bury him with respect. Wow, where do you go from there? Then, of course, Johnny Smith was captured and in Portugal, extradited to Spain. He was in prison in Alicante. And Michael Malley, meanwhile, was released on bail, probably because he cooperated with the police. Then Michael Malley was shot and killed. And, there's a suspect in that case, a guy from Manchester. That's a separate case, but was it connected to the death of John George? Is it connected, was his death the result of the connections with the murder of John George, or was it a completely separate incident? We don't know yet. In the meantime, Johnny Smith was in prison. His now wife, Madison Allen, was then arrested as well for drugs, possession of drugs, massive amount of drugs, weapons, etc. She was released on bail, so then you had her released on bail. Another guy who was involved in the whole thing, Dan Meakin, he was stabbed in the neck and left for dead. Then in Madison, well, gosh, what happened next? The thing is, it's remembering the order where it all happened. So Johnny Smith was in prison, enjoying his conjugal visits with Madison, which is probably why he married her, because in Spain you are allowed conjugal visits if you're, while you're in prison. But you have to be married, so maybe that's the reason why they got married. Then what happened next? Oh, so then as it's coming up to Christmas, the judge, for some reason, decided to suddenly give bail to Johnny Smith for €100,000, which was found and put up. And he was released on bail, so he enjoyed Christmas and New Year with his wife, which must have been very galling for John George's family, as the Christmas before they'd spent searching for his dead body. And this last Christmas just gone, the first Christmas and New Year, just getting used to the fact he wasn't there. But so Johnny and Madison were out, but the conditions supposedly, I presume, of his bail were not to have weapons or not to I don't know what conditions of his bail was. Then Madison, then there was a car accident, and Madison, somebody died as a result of Madison's car. Madison was driving the car, crashing into another car that had 3 men inside, and a man died. So there's another body piling up there. Then Madison was released on bail again on the condition that she did not stayed off social media and things. Well, they didn't fulfill those conditions. They've still been all over social media, TikTok, etc. Anyway, it's like, to cut a very, very long story short, something that I'm sure John George's family will be glad to hear about. And to be honest, feels like the whole world is a safer place because Johnny Smyth is going to be returned to prison because he's broken his bail conditions. So yeah, the only remaining suspect, in fact I can show this, you'll see a picture of the alleged killer. And we have to remember he's still alleged because the court case has not come up yet. So it's important to remember that he is a suspect still. So, that's the way it is. He's a suspect. He's not been found guilty. And until he is found guilty, if he is found guilty, because let's not forget that Michael Malley, the other suspect, is now dead. So you can be sure that Michael Malley is going to get most of the blame. When it comes to the court case, I don't know how that will all work. This is Johnny with his wife Madison. The only remaining suspect in the murder of Belfast man John George has been ordered back to prison, as a judge reprimanded him for not respecting the Spanish justice system. So apparently he appeared in court last Friday for a hearing linked to his release from prison on bail in December last year on a €100,000 bond. I mean, whether you think whether he is guilty or not, it's not right, is it, to be out on bail? And apparently he and Madison were having an altercation, and the police intervened and found drugs. Was it drugs or weapons or a combination of both? I don't know. I've sort of got lost a little bit. But anyway, so he's been ordered back to prison. And I expect his family will be glad about that. Not his family, sorry. John George's family. And is he safer in prison? Because look what happened to Michael Malley. You think, Michael Malley was on bail, but he was murdered. This is, it's a horrible case, this, isn't it? And you just, I can't say you think it's going to end badly. It's already ended badly, hasn't it? It's how much, you think, God, how much more bad can it get? Judge orders he be returned to prison with the potential loss of the €100,000 bail bond. So he may well have lost the bail bond as well. He's been ordered, so he's said to have been ordered back to prison, and the judge has said he's not respected the Spanish system. At the end of the day, he's been given the opportunity. That was like a golden opportunity, really, to come out on bail, despite the fact that he'd done a runner before and run off to Portugal, and they had to catch him and extradite him back. It was a miracle that he got bail. He hasn't appreciated it. He's going back to prison. He's really got no one to blame for it but himself, has he? I think in this particular circumstance, he's got nobody to blame but himself, has he? So the saga continues. yeah, the saga continues. What will happen next? We just still don't know when the court case is. You know, Spanish justice is very slow, moves very slow, but it looks like he'll be in prison until the court case is held. And what will happen in the court case? You know, will he just continue to blame Michael Malley? Will it make a difference that Michael Malley's not here anymore to give, you know, to tell his story? Um, I just don't know. So, yeah, I just thought I would let you know about this. Um, you know, because it's a case we've been following. You just wonder what's going to happen next in this case. So he's back. He's going back. If he's not back already, he's going back, and he may lose. He may have forfeited some of his bail bond. So whoever put that up for him, or if he maybe put it up for himself, I don't know his financial circumstances. But yeah, I wonder how he'll feel about that. Maybe he'll feel a bit safer in prison than he would be outside prison, bearing in mind what happened to Michael. Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know. So as always, let me know what you think. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Oh, don't forget to put your DNA on the like button and the subscribe button so that you can get any updates of this case or any other that we've been covering. Thank you. Till I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye.